It's time for a crash course in terror.
Hello and welcome to the Halloween special of Real Horror Show. I am Connor. What's my horror name again? I've forgotten. It's been too long.
McMayhem.
Connor
McMayhem.
McMayhem. And Howling Dowling.
Howling Dowling, that's me, Connor Dowling, yeah.
And Ali Horror, who just goes by Ali Horror every podcast.
I'm joined by our special guest, Stephen Shields.
Yay, Stephen, finally.
Hi.
Am I allowed to clap?
We need,
I'm sorry.
Ali, we need a horror name for Stephen.
Shields.
That's just quick way of thinking.
Shields. I think it's like jazz, you have to kind of improvise.
Shiver, shudder.
Ooh.
Oh.
Shiver me
Shudder me timbers.
So it went right to pirate teams for no apparent reason.
This is a pirate radio
Very
station.
good.
Okay, let me think about it.
it'll
I'll
come to us.
interrupt.
Interrupt halfway through.
I will,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll
Okay.
interrupt somebody when I think of it.
Shiver
okay.
me timbers.
No, it's shudder me timbers.
That's,
sorry.
what is it? Shudder?
Shudder me timbers.
Shudder me others.
Pirates
That's
are
the
scary.
one. That's the name to beat right now.
But
So
the mist is, or the fog has pirates.
That's true.
Ghost Pirates.
I didn't.
But I'll think
that.
of something better. Anyway, welcome, because
thank
finally, because we've been
Yeah.
talking
Yeah,
about
you've
it for
been trying to-
ages.
yeah.
So
Nice to get the invoice finally.
Stephen stepping in for our beloved Mark Sheridan
who
today.
had spawn of
He
Sheridan?
gave birth to his baby recently, and we're wishing him all the love.
Yes, and to Cash as well.
Yeah.
All the love to you as well.
And we're going to give out his address later on in the show
Yes,
as well.
of course. Trick or treat.
So, just to give Stephen a little intro. Yeah, because we...
Oh yeah, Stephen.
It's just funny watching Connor give me an intro.
Well, me and Stephen worked on a zombie comedy web series. How long ago now at this
10
stage?
years.
Wow.
10 years.
Well, 10 years since we started writing it.
Yeah.
I say we, I.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but 10 years since we started developing it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in 2009.
Whoa.
Screaming Stephen, like in
That's
Shaking
good.
Oh,
Stephen.
that's good. Yeah,
Screaming
okay.
Stephen. Okay.
Cool. Podcast over. Thank you.
Gonna take that light bulb down over Ali's head.
Sorry. Continue.
No, yeah,
continue.
10 years ago, yeah.
Wow. So, so what have you been doing since then? I'll pass the intro over
Well,
to
I
Stephen.
suppose 10 years since Zombie Bashers. That's 10 years ago.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
started writing that. Then obviously me and yourself worked on Republic of Telly for a
Yeah,
few
yeah.
years, and I worked for a few other comedy shows over that time. And then probably the most recent thing I suppose is the Hole in the Ground, co-writing that with Lee Cronin.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And that's kind of the latest things, and hopefully more to come.
Excellent. And I suppose we should talk a little bit about Hole in the Ground.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of curious about how... give us a sense of like how did that come about, or what was your involvement? How did that happen?
I suppose it came about because I obviously met Lee. Well, me and Lee knew each other because everyone here kind of knows each other. And Lee was moving back from Finland, and he had this script that he wanted me to have a look at. And he was developing with the film board, and he asked me to have a look at it. And I read it, and I was like, "It's good." But it's kind of probably not the film I'd be interested in. I kind of gave him my take of how we do it. And we kind of sat down and discussed it. And then he kind of asked his producers kindly if I could come on board and help write it. And that was 2015. We sat down to rewrite the script.
Yeah.
So originally it was a much more kind of action-packed horror movie. It was like holes opening up everywhere and people getting sucked in. And
Wow.
it was much different.
Big production.
Production
value,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
You got to know your limitations. And then 2015, then we shot it in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, which seems like seems like
yeah.
a lifetime ago. And then film was cut and chopped and made nice and fancy, and you know made nice, and then it premiered at Sundance.
Yeah,
Started
that's
This
amazing.
year, yeah.
which was a lovely experience. Watching your it's weird. It's kind of a lovely experience and a nerve-wracking experience at the same time. Watching your film premiere at midnight in the Egyptian in not Salt Lake City, Park City.
Yeah.
So it is kind of crazy with a big horror audience that you're not too sure if they're walking out to go to the bathroom or just walking out because they don't like the movie.
And was that the first time you'd seen the film, or did you?
I'd seen 2 preview screenings, one in a very small cinema with a lot of people who kind of questioned a lot about the film, and then the second time was
Was
in
that one of the test screenings?
one of the test screenings,
Yeah.
not preview. Test screenings.
Yeah.
And the second time, but it was the first time I properly seen all the visual effects put into place, and kind of everything in the grade and all done to it. So yeah, that was probably the first time. So I spent most of it just like staring into a Coke can because
Right.
it was. I think
Into the
the
abyss.
only
worst.
the only image I really remember is just me, and then Lee's girlfriend was sitting beside me, and then Lee was there the other side of me, and basically just the two of us looking at each other because we couldn't look at the screen.
Yeah.
But it went down well.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
really liked it, and it got obviously distributed all over the world, and you know, in America and here, and
Yeah, you guys were picked up by A24, which is
here in
incredible.
Vertigo in the UK and Wildcard here. So yeah, it's been a bit of a kind of mad roller coaster, and now it's out on DVD if anyone wants to pick it up.
And Blu-ray.
And Blu-ray,
And
and I'm
Blu-ray.
sure it'll be on streaming services.
Definitely.
I know it was on Sky Store for a while,
It's
but it
on
seems
its way.
Yeah.
It's on its way to
You probably
VOD
know more about
platforms near you.
That is the worst, though. My memory of film festivals when you have a film on is just horrible. Like, you
Yeah,
can't
well-
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember a Fantastic Fest, we had a film on, and I remember it was me, the actress, and Michael, the DOP, and I remember us just walking home in silence. And then we weren't sure if it was just like, you know, you're not sure how it went down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's almost like at that point, you know it's about to come out, but you don't know. Like, you never really know till the last
Yeah.
moment, you know?
Yeah.
I remember when Stitches played, because I went to London with you. Remember
Yeah.
to see Stitches play in the Fright Fest? That was a great reaction. That was a great screen. A lot of people kind of just were like, there was a lot of whooping and cheering.
Massive
Woo!
cinema, like
Massive
1,500
cinema,
seats. In
which
the,
I saw
Wow.
the worst interview with Dario Argento, like earlier
Oh,
that
yeah.
day.
I remember that,
He
yeah.
was in it, and there's that horrible thing at like a film festival Q&A where someone puts up their hand and goes, I have a script I would like you
Oh,
to. And you're like,
jeez.
oh, no, don't. And it doesn't even look like a script. It looks like someone's like 3 pages.
Just a bunch of
That's
post-its.
the true horror.
Oh, you're
like,
like,
that's the
oh.
horror filmmaking.
And he's like, no. So yeah, but
No.
it's not. I'm gonna say it's not a nice experience watching your film play. It's a great experience, but it is kind of the two sides of the sword where you're like, oh,
It's a
this-
thriller to watch it. You know, it's
Yeah.
got tension, anticipation.
Well, one of the producers'
you don't
wives
really know.
absolutely kicked the back of my chair at a certain part of the film, which was lovely.
Of the hole in the ground.
Yeah.
At a fright.
Oh yeah, the spider.
Did it make
Oh,
you jump?
yeah,
Did
yeah,
it make you
yeah.
jump?
No, she just kicked me in the back. It made me want to sue her for her back issues I'm gonna have later in life now. But yeah.
And I was also wondering, like, again, with the hole in the ground, like, what kind of, were there influences from movies you like that you were kind of putting into the movie? You know, the way you're always sort of,
Well, you know
Yes.
me. I'm always
Yeah.
talking in kind of code of like what movies I like. I suppose influences. Yeah, kind of like there's always going to be when you do a horror thing, like I'm influenced by that. So probably The Shining there's this kind of nods to The Shining with the wallpaper and
Evil
stuff
Dead,
like that.
right.
There was a really bit. No, that was cut out. The Evil,
Did it?
Yeah, the Evil Dead's not that.
Ali has her hand up in the air.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting that there's no film. There's
that
no
that
camera.
part's not in the film, as far as I remember.
I feel like it is.
I feel like it's
What
not.
is this? The hand comes up out of the ground or
Yeah,
something?
Yeah.
it's an homage to the poster for Evil Dead with the hand coming up
Yeah.
out of the ground.
okay.
I'll need to rewatch it for like the 10th time.
Mm. Last
Yeah,
third act,
definitely.
Descent is
Which
weird.
is an amazing film.
Oh, it's
The
great film,
Descent
Descent,
is
yeah.
incredible.
No, sequel, not so much. First one,
Yeah,
very
not so
good.
much, but still okay.
Still okay. I'm not gonna slate anyone, but it's it's the first one's just brilliant.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
phenomenal.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. Yeah.
And I'm always wondering about the writing process. Well, like, is it something that, because this is, I suppose everybody has a different method, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder if it's something you have to sit down and come up with an idea, or do you sort of wait for ideas to just appear?
Do you know what? It's funny. I had another idea for another horror film there the other day, and it was based on just kind of an article I read, and I thought that's really good. But what if this?
Yeah.
So basically, a bit of like it's John the Getty. They made a film about it called All the Money in the World.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. But like, and I said, oh, imagine that was like, I can't really say. I don't want to say in a podcast.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Developing the idea. But like, I suppose coming up with an idea is just kind of like, you know yourself. It's just like a spark comes in. You go, oh, that might be a good idea, or I'd like to do a version of that, or
Yeah, because the reason I was wondering recently, because I saw a deadline for, you know, a particular application, and I suddenly sat down and forced myself, and then I kind of got an idea. So I always wonder, sometimes do you need some sort of, like, if you're just waiting around all the time
Fire
for the
underneath
idea.
you.
Yeah.
Like, I always find sometimes, like, you need to kind of sort of actively think about having an idea, or are you just waiting around?
I suppose like, it depends if you like writing or not. That's the way I look at it. Like I know a lot of people who write and they hate writing. I love writing. I think it's the best. Like I think directing's great, but that's a lot of pressure and a lot of stuff that kind of comes after the whole writing process. But I think it's like I love it. Now sometimes I hate it. Don't get me wrong. I'm sitting there going, I just absolutely despise. Like there's a script I'm working on at the moment, and like I hate it. But I love the script. I hate the process.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's such a And Ali knows what
Sorry.
the script is. But it's just like, no, it's not. It has to be.
So
fun.
does anyone else involved.
Someone's listening, going, Stephen, you said you
No,
loved the
it's
script.
it's because it's such a.
I mean, you have to jump through certain hoops, I guess. Like it is a process. It is
a
like
process,
it's a procedure. Do you know?
But it's a very collaborative process.
It is,
as well.
completely.
And that's why I like it, because you do get to talk to people like-minded individuals and talk about like horror, comedy, or any form of film. But it's like that thing of like, I always say, if you wanted to be a really good, like, solid writer and you just like, no one's touching this, write novels, because that's fine. But you're still going to meet an editor who's like, cut that out, cut that out,
Yeah,
cut that out.
exactly,
Like, you really have to take it. But it's, I can't remember what the original question was. No, it's, the process is interesting. Sure, we've written something.
Yeah,
together,
exactly.
like, we wrote something in a week before a whole screenplay.
That was brilliant. Yeah. We just like went away for a cottage, booked a cottage for a week.
Booked the cottage,
for a
adopted
week.
the dog.
We adopted a
We
dog.
adopted the dog that pooed all over the house when we came home from the pub one night.
Yeah.
It's a film in itself. Really.
I was
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
just thinking that. Do you still have the dog?
No, we had the script.
Okay. Well,
I don't know what happened to the dog. We gave the dog away.
bring the script with the dog to me, and I'll see what I can do.
It's actually funny. Actually, I put a picture up on Instagram actually of it. I found it, which I hadn't. I found a hard copy of it, and I just started flicking through it. And I was just laughing at some of this, like, everyone loves their own work and thinks they're comedy genius and writing stuff. But it was actually really funny.
What was the script?
It was Zombie Bashers the movie,
Oh wow!
and it was actually pretty fun. Like, you had a
yeah.
whole. But then you obviously kind of, you can't make everything, and
Yeah. But it was good. Like it's. I suppose it's that focus. We're there for a week to write,
Yeah.
and like by the end of the week we had a script.
It's a life and death race against all that is evil. The terror begins.
Has anyone seen any good movies lately? Should we talk just very briefly? Do we have
About
time?
stuff we've seen.
Well,
yeah.
Just
we were
not
going to
at
talk
length,
about it.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
let's work up to it with a brief palate cleanser of just one or two things that people have seen recently that they would recommend or that they think are good. If you guys got anything.
Yeah, I'd recommend one I saw. It's on Shudder. I'm not sure where else you can get it. Called Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Okay, I haven't heard of that.
Highly recommend this movie. It's a Mexican film.
Okay.
And it's kind of a, do you know it?
yes, the director is working about Guillermo del Toro at the moment. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And it's kind of, I wouldn't call it a straight horror. It's a mix of, like the way Del Toro mixes kind of fantasy, and something like Pan's Labyrinth. It's not like, so it's like, it involves kind of kids and, like kids who live on the streets, and one of their mothers had died, but they basically get mixed up with a gang. But it's a mixture of like a gang film, a horror, and fantasy. But the performances from the kids are brilliant. But yeah, no, I really recommend that film.
What's it called again?
Tigers Are Not Afraid.
I'll add that to the watch
check
list.
it out.
Love it.
Definitely.
I watched kind of a classic one recently that I'd never seen before, the original When a Stranger Calls. You guys seen that?
it's brilliant.
Oh my god, have you seen that, Connor?
Oh, I don't know if I have.
You must.
It's
have.
basically the movie where the babysitter is minding the kids and the phone calls are coming in and it's some creepy guy saying, "Have you checked on the children?"
Yeah.
Kind of like I think it's based on like an urban legend or something like that, and it's. There's a bit of a twist that's really familiar that I don't want to give away, because if you haven't seen the movie, it's actually really surprising when it happens. But brilliant, so good. Carol Kane is in it, who is in Scrooged as the.
She's
ghost
also
of
in
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Princess Bride.
Yes.
Billy Crystal's
And
wife.
the Adams Family.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
she's grandmama.
Yeah, so funny, but she's a serious role, like kind of a female lead role in it, and scary killer guy terrorizing women in the 70s. Really good movie. So I recommend that.
Big inspiration for Scream.
So. What about you, Alan?
Okay, so I watched it's called The Haunting, aka The Terror, with Jack Nicholson.
Oh,
So
this is really old. That's
it's really old.
old.
Yeah,
movie,
I went on a bit of a binge, and then which is really good. It's really interesting. It's actually Francis Ford. It's one of his first credits. He's an associate producer on it.
Okay.
It's a really interesting old school horror from I think the 1950s. Then I also watched. Getting into some 80s movies, the Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh, beautiful.
And because I'm trying to get Matthew into horror films and movies with boobs is the only way I can do it. So Slumber Party Massacre, which is directed by a female, can't remember her name, but fair dues to her. And
Awesome.
then Prom Night,
Brilliant.
which
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched
Oh,
the
wow,
other
that's
night,
great.
which is amazing.
Jamie Lee Curtis
Yeah,
is in
Jamie
that
Lee
one? Yeah.
Curtis,
yeah.
and Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, that's right. Well,
Oh.
Leslie Nielsen's been in some pretty scary ass movies.
Yeah, he was in. Was it Creepshow? Is it Creepshow
Oh,
with
yeah,
Ted
is it?
Danson?
I think he is in Creed,
he's
or is he in
Where he-
Twilight Zone?
Is it Twilight
Twilight
Zone?
Zone.
Yeah. He's great. Yeah. So those are these movies we're recommending?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, would you
Oh
recommend?
yeah,
any
I'd
for us?
recommend them all.
Actually, you reminded me. The Haunting, I think, is playing in the Lighthouse this month.
Oh, really?
The Jack Nicholson one
No,
or the original
but
Haunting?
the Robert Wise.
Ooh.
It's one of my
I-
favorites.
it's one of my favorites as well. And I know y'all hate me, but I still love the remake.
The Liam Neeson
The Liam
one?
Neeson.
Oh,
is-
it's
Liam Neeson's?
It's not the
directed by Jan de
original.
Bon. Is that his name?
Catherine
Yeah,
Zeta-Jones,
yeah.
was she in that?
Catherine
Yeah,
Zeta-Jones.
yeah.
I remember when that
Luke-
came out.
Luke
It was a
Will-
big deal.
Weird
Luke
scare with the
Wilson.
statue that grabs
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Or the piano string
It's
that
great. Yeah,
breaks,
breaks your one's
someone's
eye,
eye.
and then Luke Wilson gets his head taken off by
Luke
a
Wilson?
Yeah.
Shit.
chimney flume.
He used to
is that
die
what
in
you
a lot
call
of
it?
movies in the 90s. He died in Anaconda
So,
as well.
so did Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
And
but
now
like-
look at Joaquin.
The funniest bit in Anaconda is where is it John Voight
I know,
gets
and
spit back
he
out
blinks.
of the yeah.
He just goes blink, blink.
I don't think he blinks, I think he winks. He
No, he
winks.
doesn't. He, okay,
No, he
yeah.
winks at Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah,
And then he
hey,
falls
J-Lo.
over. It's not Gill over him, yeah.
Yeah.
Anaconda, yeah. That's a
That was a
movie.
hilarious movie. All those movies were great though, like Deep Blue Sea, where
Oh, Deep
Stellan
Blue Sea.
Skarsgård gets his arm. Or no, it is Stellan
It's Stellan
Skarsgård who
Skarsgård,
gets his
yeah.
arm chopped off, and then he comes back and he's like, "Oh!" And you're like, "You've been underwater with your arm chopped off for hours. How are you still alive?"
And the surprise kill of Samuel L. Jackson. That was just
I know.
classic.
Spoiler alert.
classic moment in cinema.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh.
I was actually going. Can I mention a film that I
Of
watched
course,
recently?
yeah.
I would like. It's very 70s and very old, but Connor, you might know this one. Race with the Devil.
Oh,
It's with Warren Oates and Peter Fonda, and they're kind of with their wives, and they're going on a camper van across country. They park up beside a stream light, and they see a cult killing a young woman.
Cool.
Wow.
You should check it out. It's really
Sounds
good.
class.
It's,
Where'd
it's
you see
due
it
for
on?
a remake. Well, I first actually saw it because one of my favorite films ever is The Burbs with Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Okay.
a
Yeah.
clip of it in the film. He's watching movies and like he sees Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Exorcist,
Yeah.
and Race with the Devil. But I bought it years ago in a Criterion edition,
okay.
and it's just such a great movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
gonna
okay,
add that
Racist
to the
Devil.
list.
Awesome.
There's another one similar. Well, I don't know if it's similar, but The Devil Rides Out. The Devil
Yes,
Rides Out.
That's
amazing.
Hammer, isn't it?
What's,
Yeah, that's a
what's-
Hammer one.
What's the author's name of that again?
Richard Matheson?
Is it?
Oh, it is Richard.
I think it's
Matheson.
Richard Matheson because
But
I
it's
think we
not
talked
ba-
about it
no,
on our.
It's not based on a book.
Well, it might be
It
Richard
might be.
Madison because he did I Am Legend.
Dennis
as
Wheat.
well.
Is it Dennis Wheatley?
It's not a book by Richard Matheson, but I think Richard Matheson might have written the screenplay for it, and this would be
Okay.
in early days of
Yeah.
Richard Matheson. But, Race
But The
with
Devil Rides Out
Race
is
with the Devil,
great.
Warren Oates, and Peter Fonda. It's actually a really good movie.
It's
It's
cool.
real tension building.
Cool.
I also watched Dead Cam the other night. Have you guys ever seen
Oh,
that
movie!
Yeah.
directed,
Fucking hell,
What
I've
a
never seen that
movie.
before. It was pretty cool.
Billy Zane
Wolfgang
is
Peterson
a
directed that.
babe.
Did he? I remember the trailers.
Billy
Billy
Zane.
Zane.
Oh, wait. Dead Cam.
Is
a
Nicole
director called
Kidman in
Bill
that?
Noyce.
Oh, Peter
Nicole
Noyce.
Kidman and
Peter
Sam
Noyce,
Neill.
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's so
Sorry, I got,
good.
he's an Australian director.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it's kind of all Australian cast. Sam Neill, Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman's like 20 in it.
Yeah,
So-
that's
Yeah,
the film I got
yeah.
kind of discovered.
Yeah, but it was good. It was one of those good kind of like, just very minimal cast, 3 people, bit of a cat and
Yeah.
mouse kind of thing.
Tension
But I enjoyed it.
building.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before, but it was like kind of recommended a few times.
Yeah, it's good. I have it on DVD. It's a great movie.
It's an
Yeah,
amazing
it's cool.
movie, yeah. And again, Billy Zane.
Billy
is a
Zane.
babe.
You know,
He's
I
a babe.
accidentally ended up at Billy Zane's 50th birthday party.
No, was Marlon Manson at it?
No.
Because do you know Marlon Manson named his?
If you don't follow the rules, Billy, bad things happen.
We talking about it. How
Yeah.
It.
Chapter 2.
It
chapter
two.
2 because what the flying fuckadoodle do?
Okay. Who wants to go first?
That's an interesting way to
Why
start the
did you?
conversation.
I take it you don't like it.
I think if you took out Pennywise and you took out any moment that was potentially supposed to be horror, you would have one hell of an incredible drama and character piece.
Mhm.
But it
was
has,
all there.
I mean, Pennywise is a fried egg by the end of it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, he was Benjamin
Like,
Button.
he's Benjamin Button as a fried egg. And, like, every moment with Pennywise, like, there was children dying and I laughed. And I know I'm not a fan of children, but I don't want to laugh when they die.
I know what you mean.
And do you know what I mean? And then, like, oh, that scene with Bill Hader and what's Paul Bunyan? Is that
Yeah,
who?
Paul Bunyan statue. There's actually a funny story about that. So there's this, there's a scene in the film where Bill Hader is kind of flashback into when he's a kid, and there's this Paul Bunyan statue, which I was actually at in May. Don't worry about it, guys. I'll do autographs later. But the statue comes to life and it attacks him, and then it's kind of intercut with this Pennywise kind of running at him and scaring him kind of scene. And I kind of like zoned out during that scene. I turned to Ali at one stage and I was like, after it, and I was like, that wasn't very good, was it? Like, I was like, that was all I had to say about it at the time. I felt like that was a very weak scene. But actually, I was just reading some trivia on the film, and turned out that Stephen King had read the script of the film, and he was really like receptive to what the director was doing with it. And he just suggested a couple of things, and there was this Paul Bunyan thing in the book, and he said, is there any chance you can squeeze the Paul Bunyan scene into the film? And he's like, oh, okay. And it's funny how when we were watching it, we zoned in on that as being one of the weaker kind of things. It just didn't kind of gel with the rest of the film.
It's just because, first of all, the character of Bill Hader, he plays what? Richie. Is the most exceptional performance in that film.
Beautiful.
Unreal. And that is a face.
No, it wasn't a face.
That was a face.
But I'm not gonna. You
tell me about your face. Tell me about your face.
We're getting kind of into specifics. I'd love to get everyone's general kind of reaction to it, and then we can kind of talk about what specific things we liked and didn't like about it.
Before it came out, there was a general, like when the first film came out, there was generally 4 stars.
Sure.
It was getting. And then my general, before I watched this, it was getting 3 stars, and it was generally, not quite as good. And that's kind of how I felt about it. Like when I watched it, the scenes with the kids reminded me how good the first one was.
Okay.
And I didn't feel the same feeling about the adult storyline. And then the other thing I really just started to annoy me in the film was the overuse of computer graphics.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
totally.
that scene you're talking about with the Paul Bunyan, it's like big monster chases them and there never seems to be a threat because they just sort of hide and then the monster disappears.
Yeah.
And that happens so many times in the film that I was just tired.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and it is a long film.
It is quite long. Stephen, what about you? Any reactions?
I suppose the way I look at it is I go to horror films to be scared, and I wasn't scared one bit watching the movie. There you go. I not like, look, it's one of these weird things when I suppose you're doing a book or because when you're adapting anything, you're playing to that audience, an audience that doesn't know it's cinema going on. You're basically the general public. So like people go, oh, Bill Hader had a great performance in it. I know I winced there a little bit. I'm going, he did, but there's not really much going on. Like if you look at the film as a whole, it's like, these are the kids and they're great in the first one. That's brilliant. The second one, like, I don't really care about these adults. Yeah. You know what I mean? I really don't. I don't invest in them. So the kind of chunky kid became an architect and he's still in love with the girl.
And he got super hot.
And he got super hot. And you're like, I don't care. Like, it's their own fault for going back. Like, now if it was like a continuation on 20 years later and it was different kids, that would be much more interesting. But how many people actually die in the film, though?
Well, it's the same in the original.
Here's my reaction to the film. It's like, yes, it wasn't particularly scary, but I have to say the story itself kind of holds up. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm watching. I want to know what happens to these kids. I did care about the actors or the characters. I thought the performances were great. James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain, and Bill Hader, and the rest. Whose names I actually just don't know.
That guy who played sorry, continue.
Who?
The guy who played the guy who died. Sorry,
oh,
everybody. He was amazing.
He was so
he
good.
Was good. Yeah.
His face
at
was
mimicking
unreal.
the kid. Like he was like just so good.
Yeah.
But so I thought they were great, and I always wanted to know what was going on with them. But then, like you're saying about the CGI, like then there'd be a great scene, and then it would just get destroyed by some weird. What the hell is this CGI monster? Like the scene where they first meet up. And they're in the Chinese food place and they're having dinner and they're reminiscing, and it's a really nice kind of camaraderie scene. And you sense something is going to happen that's going to kind of ruin it and remind us we're in a horror movie. And the fortune cookies open, and there's these fucking
like
fetuses with eyeballs,
crab baby things.
Yeah.
I was like,
and it looked like,
how did this make it into the final film? I was like, are we watching the final film?
It's like he was making horror so accessible to a much younger audience that he toned it down to the point that every time there was something scary, because I agree with you, that's why I high-fived you, that like I go to a horror film to be scared, and for every single horror moment that was in the film, I was just like, my eyes rolled into the back of my head, like in like Beetlejuice. It was like, I was so disappointed with it. And I was disappointed with the first with chapter 1 as well. I wasn't on the same.
Sure.
I mean,
I
it was
liked
great.
the
It was
first. I
great
did like the
performances,
Yeah.
but again, for me, it didn't have that element of horror that I wanted, because obviously, you know, seeing the original as a child, you have these expectations and it doesn't live up to it. But
and we did talk about that when chapter 1 came out, and we had our kind of comparisons between the first and
the original
and all that. But like even like the scene where Jessica Chastain is visiting like the old lady, and you're getting this interesting kind of like, there's a bit of backstory here. She's saying she's related to Pennywise, and then she like turns into this like 20-foot tall like
naked
giant
lady.
naked monster. You're like, what is that?
And then she comes back, and that moment, do you remember that really strange cut when that guy with the face who was really good, he was down in the basement, and there was the monster that started like trying to tongue him, and then they just started playing that song "Don't Call Me Angel," just this random clip.
I quite like that, but it was very out of kind of tone of the
It
film.
just takes
was
you
like,
out.
what?
It's like, oh, it's a scary moment, better make it a little bit lighthearted. Do you know? And then just even the character of Pennywise, like he's supposed to be this like a monster creature, like pure evil, and he genuinely, when he's like, I missed you, you believe him. You're like, oh, Pennywise, he didn't have friends for the last 20 years. But do you know what the one thing that really struck me from the whole film was the opening scene where the gay couple got bashed.
That's in the book.
But it's not addressed throughout the rest of the film.
No, it is
And
in the book.
it's just very.
It is
it's
in
just
the book,
very,
but does
very.
it come back?
No,
to the
it's
book or
just basically that's just kind of like the spark that sets
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. But it's just really, it's just really violent. Then the guy gets thrown into the river, and you're like, oh, he's going to be saved, and then Pennywise just hilariously
bites his head off. Well, that's one of my other issues, because like I'm saying, I actually did enjoy the movie. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 personally, just from the experience. Yeah, like I mean, I didn't find it particularly scary, but I did enjoy it, and I was going, I like being in that world with those characters, right?
That's fair.
And a couple of moments pretty scary, like James McAvoy and the little kid in the Hall of Mirrors, and Pennywise is like bashing his head off thing. I thought that was a nice kind of little moment. But anytime there's like a non-main character, Pennywise is like, you know, calls the little girl over under the bleachers, or gets the gay couple like under the bridge, and like within seconds he just bites their head off dead.
Yeah.
But with the main characters, it's this like cat and mouse thing that they can always get out of, like you were saying.
It's not clear what his like is he. You know the way like in Alien.
Yeah.
The alien will see them and kill them. It wasn't clear to me exactly.
Is he able to kill them?
Is he trying? Yeah, exactly.
That's the case in most horror movies, though. Like we have this discussion where, like, me and Lee are writing something at the moment, and the thing is, it has a ghost in it, and we're like on like. But if you watch like the Conjuring universe, the ghosts just disappear after a while.
I think though you get away with it in a ghost film for some reason.
But
like,
in this movie,
no,
we're saying that the monster is killing some people, but just toying with
But
other people.
okay, but look at it this way: is it because they were the ones who got away?
Yeah.
So for Pennywise, who is an entity, who is a being, albeit like a freaking fried egg one and a hilarious one, like
Freaky Fried Egg. I'd like that movie.
He is these are like the ones that got away. These are the opposition. So he's gonna like toy with them. He's gonna
Is he not
fuck
supposed
with
to be
them.
fear-inducing? Isn't that what they're trying to say? Like he breeds fear into you. I suppose like it's okay for one and not okay for another. My problem with the film, like I actually like I have to say, I liked the film. I thought it was good. It's a Stephen King.
Yeah.
Stephen King's second acts are never good.
And they make fun of that
I like
in the
that,
film
how
the
they
whole
make fun of that in
time.
the
I
film.
love
like
that.
you ever read
yeah.
a Stephen King book, and I've read a few of them. Like the ending to just Shining.
Oh
is
yeah, the book.
awful.
Yeah.
And you can see why Kubrick, when he
Yeah.
did make The Shining, just went that route, because like obviously a boiler exploding. It's great.
But did you see that
Red Rum.
Rebecca
It's called
Romijn
Dr.
Stain
Slate.
one? No.
Oh,
there was a TV
Oh, yeah,
movie
yeah, of
of
course,
The Shining
yeah.
where they
Yeah,
actually
he
made
goes-
it blow up.
We've talked
King
about
hated
that
the
before,
original
actually.
one.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. That's
I
like
love that.
But if you ever
classic.
watched the
Yeah.
original miniseries, like he does turn into a
Yeah.
horrible
Yeah, he
spoiler.
does.
That was a
Yeah.
pretty bad
Exactly.
The
ending.
He
deadlights
does.
and all like
Yeah,
that stuff. So
yeah.
it's hard. It's like, again, you're servicing
Yeah.
the people who love the book, and you're serving like the
Exactly,
miniseries.
you are.
Like you can't.
I like the ending of the new one. That was a fucking epic, like set, like load of set pieces, like just
Yeah.
bouncing
Yeah.
off each other. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I
But
thought
he
that
does
was
just
really...
become a giant crab.
He
that's chasing
does.
them
Yeah,
around.
it was
See, that's-
tiring.
yeah, it
tired.
was.
But I think you kind of look at it this way, like the first one, for like people loved it, but that had so many good like people working on it. Like
Yeah.
Cary Fukunaga was supposed to originally direct that,
Okay.
so he was writing the screenplay, and then Gary Dauberman came on. Like, and funny enough, the original Pennywise was supposed to be Will
Forte.
No, not Will Smith.
But he got the genie role
Will
instead.
Oh,
Will Ferrell?
No, Will. He's in
Will Arnett?
Glassland and he's in We're the Millers.
Will Rayner.
No.
Will Arnett.
Will Rayner. Jack Rayner.
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. No. He's the
Will
young-
Poulter.
Will Poulter.
Oh, it was
that was supposed to be
Will
really
Poulter.
Will Poulter. and you
he's,
can
a
kinda
bit, he's
see
very
that.
like Bill
He
Skarsgård.
has
Yeah,
the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing as well, as I was going to point out, is like, Bill Skarsgård makes it the first one. He is the reason you go see it because his performance is really good as it. He's not in the second one.
He's not,
hardly in it.
and he's CGI'd when he
He's
is in it.
hardly in it.
I still think that Tim Curry, because I love Tim Curry, but like all he does when in the scary moments in the original It is he just opens his mouth and the camera just kind of slow-mos in, and that's just horrifying. That's more horrifying than seeing, like you're talking about the glass mirror, the mirror house scene, and he's just like bashing his head and then licking his big long tongue up the thing, and it's
sexy.
just no, it's hilarious.
It's the opposite.
It's freaking hilarious, and like I do not want to be like, clowns are scary. Let's face it.
Do you
Clowns
think
are scary.
if Tim Curry had been cast in the remakes, that would have just elevated the film? Tim Curry?
No.
Yeah, I suppose
No.
Tim Curry
No.
does in the miniseries, not a lot of people honing, like, because obviously it was made for TV and it was really
Yeah.
cheap budget.
Yeah.
And, like,
And it was a lot
the thing
longer
that
as
makes
well.
Tim Curry scary, really, in that entire miniseries is he's jolly one moment and then his demeanor changes in an instant and he's hay-filled.
Yeah.
Like, if you think in It Part 2, like the bleacher scene, he's just like, come down and play with me. And then,
Then he
That's
bites your
it.
head
That's
off.
literally
you're like,
it. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
it's they
laughable.
don't stick to the motif of you're toying with
Yeah.
someone. Or
Well,
you're
Exactly,
that
yeah.
was the thing I
Yeah.
was raising. It's
Well
that
said.
how come he can just pick one kid and just bite their head off, and then other kids he's like, oh, I'm gonna toy with this person because like what's his MO, like, you know?
And was in the miniseries, because I can't quite remember it, was there all these other like,
Murders.
you know, like turning into old women
I don't
and
think so.
statues?
No.
No,
it was
no.
just
There
the
was.
clown.
very much the
No.
It was
clown.
mostly
Yeah.
just the
Yeah,
clown,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, everyone remembers what it's kind of like this.
But do you
the
remember-
defining moment is the Georgie scene. That's what everyone
Yes.
remembers
Yeah.
from the miniseries.
Yeah.
Like it is that. Anything beyond that is just kind of like. So they kind of had to add
But
new
did
stuff. in.
they do it in chapter 1? But do you remember from the original where there's the like sepia, like black and white or sepia
Oh, he comes
picture,
out of
and
the
he's on
picture.
his
That's
he's
not
on
in the
his
TV show.
he's on his yeah.
It's in the miniseries.
Yeah.
They're looking through a book of all photos,
Yeah.
and the photo
and
starts
it's just
to
the
move.
music.
and
The
he gets
music
on the
starts
lamppost and goes,
playing. Yeah.
"Get it, get it."
Yeah.
Which is horrifying. But did they do something like that in chapter 1?
They did the projector scene.
Which was
Yeah.
oh my
I like
god,
that.
no.
I
Good,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
No, it was like
That's
it was
for the
like,
moment for me
and then
right
it was
now,
like, oh, there's a big clown in the room. Like, oh my
But it is
god,
scary.
But and it's
It's
the
not
kids.
scary.
It's the kids' reactions as well. And like I stand by this. And I said it the last time we talked about it in this podcast. I went back after watching It Chapter 1. I went back and watched my beloved miniseries.
Yeah.
And God, like it didn't age well. And those kids in that original, I'm sorry, Seth Green and the rest of the lads. The acting was not there, like the acting ability.
Okay,
they
fair,
were a bunch
fair.
of kids who were just putting a movie, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
The kids
Fair.
in the chapter 1 and 2 are like fucking proper, like their performances are just out of this
I'm
world.
not a fan of that Fionn Wolfhead.
Finn Wolfhard, I
Wolf-
like the
Wolf-
kid.
He's in the new.
Hard.
He's in the turning. He's in the turning.
Kid from the Stranger
They
Things.
shot here at the turning.
The
They
turning
make
of
it
the
turn the
screw.
screw. It's called
No
Turn.
way.
Which
I
is
love the others.
Innocence.
Yeah.
And the others.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well,
Is it
the
The-
Innocence is based on the Turn of the
Yeah.
Screw.
And then the others.
And the others is more, I think, just like inspired by. Like, I don't think it's
Yeah, it's not a remake,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
but it's inspired by The Turning of the Screws is.
I like
is
him. I think
great.
he's good. I think
I like
it's the role you kind of have to give him is the funny.
I'm just not a fan personally.
I think
of
he's
the
gonna be
acting
big.
ability. He
I
is
think he's
going.
gonna
Oh,
be
he's
big
already
as
massive.
star.
All of the tweenie boppers are
Yeah.
gung ho for him.
Nuts over him.
But no disrespect to a child.
just-
He's young. He's young.
One thing I think is interesting to mention as well about it is on the budget. Like It Chapter 1, the budget was 35 million and it broke records for
Yeah.
a horror film, 123 million in its opening weekend, 700 million worldwide after the fact. And then It 2 double the budget, 79, more than double the budget, 79 million budget, because they wanted to do it a lot bigger.
It was a bigger cast.
It was bigger cast.
Yeah, bigger
and
names.
you kind of have twice the cast, like,
Yeah.
essentially. And I remember in that kind of final sequence, I was going, like, fucking hell, they're just throwing money around the place here. Like, I was really, really impressed with some of the production value. And then in the opening weekend, not as good as some of the other films,
Yeah, it didn't have.
I think it was like 100 million in its opening weekend, and it's done 400 million worldwide since its release like a month ago.
But
which is
it feels
pretty
like
good.
it was on a much more limited, like obviously it wasn't on a limited release, but like it wasn't on, like when we went to go see it, and I was checking it at Cinema Times, there was like hardly any screenings on, and that was only the second or third
I think
week
the
that it
third
was
week.
on.
Yeah.
So, which is,
Still, yeah.
crazy
Should
considering
be
that
bigger.
the first one had multiple screenings per day.
Yeah.
Like the Joker still has like 10, 15. I know it's only what
People be
week
loving
2.
those scary clowns, right?
Telling you, clowns are scared, which is why I'm so upset that he's a freaking fried egg.
But still glad I saw it, and I would recommend.
Yeah,
it
I
to
know.
people.
I had a great time.
But I do think
did
it
have a great
is
time
it
watching
is it is aimed at a younger audience who might
100%.
like some of those creepy CGI things.
100%.
Oh, creepy, scary old lady. Whereas us, like kind of like horror, kind of like aficionados, be looking at that going like, really, that seems cheap. Like, you know what I mean?
But can we talk also one thing that I see the one thing that I loved most about it, like I'm saying, take out all the horror bits and take out Pennywise, and you have this amazing character piece that deals with all of these amazing themes and Stanley and suicide, and that theme was beautiful, and I think really well done. And then I know, but Bill Hader's storyline, it was a really great performance, and like how it all tied in together, it was really good. But
I like the way they never bring up
Fucking
in any of them that the sex scene,
Yeah.
which is never mentioned in any of like the miniseries or the movie.
I'm glad they didn't do
I
it.
know it's a
big orgy
weird
scene.
The big orgy scene is in the book.
Yeah.
That's very bizarre, but it is Stephen
I think
King.
that's on page 542.
dog marked.
But it is like it's hard to make a movie about like in the book
Yeah.
the universe created by a turtle and all this madness, and you're like, oh yeah, and at the end of the day, it's a creepy clown movie.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
it's
it's
hard
true.
to-
Yeah,
Like the end of it, like oh, here's a giant vase that we have to get these lights into. Like it's really just like, how do you do that?
Okay, I guess that's
That's it.
so that's
No
it.
pun intended.
Yeah, no, like great soundtrack though. I've been listening to it a lot.
okay.
Just call me Angel.
It doesn't have that song on it. Though.
I just remembered I was at Sitges 2 weeks ago, the horror
Oh,
festival,
yeah.
and I watched 2 movies. Just
Good
very
for
briefly.
you.
Very briefly.
Well, I'll just mention them
He's
briefly.
one of the ones who went to the toilet and never came back.
Because you'd probably, I don't know if they're coming out or because one of them's, I think it's a Spanish movie, called 4x4. I always love when a film can, like set in one location,
Yeah.
and it's basically the setup is a guy, a criminal, and he gets into a car to rob it, and whatever, he takes the radio out the front and he pisses on the back seat, and then he tries to get out of the car and he can't get out, and he tries to smash the window, and it's like the windows have been bulletproofed and they're
Oh, cool.
tinted from the outside.
And he's haunted by his piss for the
Yeah.
rest of the movie.
Well, he tries to get out the back window and then he slips in his own piss, which is kind of like
Yeah.
It's like a killer car.
well, not exactly, but
So, and then the whole movie's in the car.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And just one
Really?
character in a car.
yeah. Now,
to get
in the
out.
last act, a few other people just come into it.
the clown
But-
car.
But it's called 4x4. But
That
it's,
sounds
it's
class.
yeah,
4x4,
no,
awesome.
I always
Yeah.
think it's quite ingenious when people can
Yeah.
keep a story
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Completely.
Like it
yeah.
reminded me a bit of Buried, that
Buried,
kind of.
Yeah,
Buried,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then the second film I watched, which I'm trying to remember the title, it's the new film by the guy who did Goodnight Mommy,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
which reminded me when you said The Others, because it is kind of a ghost story type thing. But yeah,
You Google it.
you'll have to
IMDb.
Google that one. It's very slow. It's not. I don't think it's not as good as Goodnight Mommy. But still, worth.
Ready or Not.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Samara Weaving.
A romp. A absolute
I
It
just-
looks
romp.
good. It looks really
enjoyed
good.
It was like 9.5 out of 10.
Do you see
Oh,
it, Connor?
right.
No, what?
Ready or not?
It's about a woman who's getting married into a family and they play board
Oh,
games,
yeah,
but
yeah,
they're all like
yeah,
really
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
sinister.
They play
Yeah,
this
sorry,
like hide and
yeah.
seek game where they're like hunting her down,
Yeah.
and then she has to survive the night kind of thing. And it's short enough. It's like only like an hour and a half or something like that, isn't it? Like it's
Yeah, I mean,
135 or
it
something.
Compared
could-
to
it could-
Me Too,
it-
anything
it
short
could
enough.
it could have been longer. Like I had
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Like I
It's in the
I don't.
cinema at the moment, or maybe it's
yes.
just left the cinema. Right, by the time this podcast comes out, I'd say
It
it'll
might be,
it'll
yeah.
be out. But the cinema, but it was really good.
But
yeah.
like a romp, I just like. Do you see my smile?
Yeah.
I loved it. It was so good, and it was so gory. There was some amazing gore bits in it. like performances were hilarious. Adam Brody, I think the OC chap, back from wherever he's been. I don't know where he's been, but he was
a lot
great.
of Kevin Smith stuff he does, Adam Brody, and he's also in the
Does
Ring.
he do a lot of
The remake of the Ring.
Rings?
No, he's in like the remake of the Ring, the
American one.
2004 one.
The
No, he's
American
not
one.
Adam Brody.
Yes, he is. Go back and watch it. He's the guy who goes at the funeral. He goes, "They died because of that tea."
That's his
Solid
line.
impression.
But he's basically the guy who's like sends Naomi Watts on her way.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go back
There
and
you
have a
go.
go.
And one thing that struck me about the film was it's one of those movies where
Wait, The Ring.
the Ready or Not,
Back,
the main character's costume, it's like one of those ones that'd be an awesome Halloween
so
costume.
badass, yeah.
Kind of like a ripped wedding dress. She's wearing Converse shoes. She's got the shotgun. You know, she's blood all over. It's just like really fucking.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah,
She is amazing.
cool.
And then the NC, just
No,
guys.
don't ruin it.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm just gonna say, just do your bit and go
Did
see
Did
it.
anyone see Crawl? Because I heard it was getting
Yes.
good
No.
reviews.
I saw it. Yeah.
Dying.
Is it good?
I used to be petrified when I was a kid of like alligators and sharks coming through my living room window, even though that was completely impossible. And then they made a movie about my completely impossible fear, and I am dying to see this
You
movie.
need to be in a storm in Florida.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I saw it. Did anyone else see it? Did you see it? Or?
No, I haven't.
No, I saw it. I
knew was
enjoyed
out.
it. It is very much one of those, you know, us versus some big creature from nature. In this case, the house gets flooded and there's alligators in the basement, and it's her and her dad, and they have this kind of strained relationship where they're, you know, that's kind of like the B story as they're like fighting off these alligators, and they have to kind of work together and all this sort of thing. And it's just fun. It's just a fun hour-and-a-half movie where there's it's set in a big kind of thunderstorm, and they're just, she's a swimmer, so she's able to like swim away from the crocodiles or alligators.
Thank
or whatever.
God.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She's an alligator wrangler.
Very convenient.
How
Yeah.
convenient.
I enjoyed it, but like I wouldn't be raving about it. To be honest.
Okay.
But it was good.
But
Yeah.
it's on my list, definitely. Oh, I watched In the Tall Grass. The
Oh,
Stephen King.
God,
Oh
really?
my
I haven't heard of
God.
it.
I saw the trailers. The Netflix are doing this. It's Patrick Wilson, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh.
So basically,
like-
these people get lost in the grass, and this tall grass, and time seems to slip away. And I saw the trailer for it. No, to be honest with you, it's one of those ones I'm like, want to watch it.
This grass is tall.
But
too
again,
tall.
it's Stephen King.
It's
Later Stephen
Yeah,
King.
it's
Okay.
and it's his son as well.
Joe Hill.
Joe Hill.
Oh yeah, they've been writing together. Yeah.
But like, I mean, ugh. Like I'd rather watch It Part 2 again.
Oh my gosh, you okay?
Like, no, I'm
Is it
struggling.
on Netflix?
It's
Yeah,
on
it's
Netflix.
just on
It's
Netflix.
just,
Oh,
it's just, it just came out.
Speaking of Netflix, actually, we should probably mention a friend of ours film that's coming out on Netflix, the 18th.
Oh yeah.
Kieran Foy's film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Eli.
being released
Yes.
on the 18th. Yes, the 18th.
Looking forward to
I've seen
that.
the trailer and it looks really good.
Yeah.
And the poster.
That's been in the process for a while now, hasn't it?
It was supposed to be released earlier this year, but Netflix acquired it, which I think is a great thing because Netflix to me is now the new independent cinema because
Yeah.
that's where all the films go and you can watch them on your own time. So yeah, that's out the 18th. Good Halloween viewing anyway.
Awesome.
Looks
Yeah,
scary.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
trailer
Kieran
looks
is,
really
is
good.
an amazing
Yeah,
director.
I've been told it's a
so,
great
yeah.
film by the director himself, so hopefully.
Yeah.
Seal of approval.
See, he was like, yeah, it's good. And I was like, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I met him last year in LA, and he was just in the middle of editing it. He
Yeah,
was really
yeah.
excited about it. So really,
He scared me actually.
forward to
He a raccoon. I was in his house and a raccoon came out of nowhere. That's just a weird side note.
He scared you or the raccoon
I
scared
was on my
you?
honeymoon and he invited us over for dinner.
Oh, lovely.
And he used the phrase, which no one ever wants to hear it in America. Oh, the only time you ever see a helicopter around here is when there's an active shooter. There was a helicopter flying around. Then all of a sudden this raccoon came out of and it absolutely scared the shit out of me. Anyway, sorry, that's my raccoon story.
So Eli, 18th of October, definitely got to check that out on Netflix. Speaking of Irish related films, one of the films we want to talk about or just give out a little shout out to is Extraordinary, comedy horror film
Yeah.
made by the directors
Daddy.
known as Daddy, Mike
Daddy,
Lockman and Enda Ahern, or Micah Ahern and Enda Lockman.
Micah Ahern and
Yeah,
Lockman.
got it, yeah. And Maeve Higgins, Irish comedian, stars as a psychic driving instructor who has these talents where she can see dead people, and it's been described as Ghostbusters meets Nationwide. It's this very kind of
And
like,
Father Ted.
and Father Ted, very kind of Irish kind of humor, but it's like it starts off like with crappy VHS footage and it ends up like a big like supernatural kind of like monster kind of movie. So they really, there's great production value, really funny, and I really recommend people checking it out.
Will Forte.
Will Forte. MacGruber himself, absolute legend.
That is also a 9.5 romp. Just saying.
And really, what do you take away the 0.5 for, Ellie?
That's a good
You
point.
can
It's a 10.
have a full
It's a 10.
What gets a 10? That's what
It's
you want
a
to know.
10 romp.
Okay, that's a 10. Okay, interesting.
And I have a haunted gravel on my desk in work.
Amazing.
Pride of
Oh, I
place
have one
beside
of
my...
those.
Yeah, it's great. A gravel. I love it. So yeah.
Such a great mark.
Yeah.
I know. It
It's
was
gotta go.
genius.
Brilliant.
I actually really liked the film. I got to see it just after Galway, and I thought, now I'm always skeptical of, like, you know, I was like, oh, Ghostbusters, but it's, you know, you put yourself up in that one. But I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. I thought there's great performances in it. I thought it was really well directed.
It was so well directed, and I had read the script like almost a year or like a good bit before they went into production, and it just you know, like obviously sometimes when you see or you read a script or you write a script or whatever it may be, and the finished product isn't how you felt it was going to be, and it turned out so well. Like it's
Even special
freaking
effects
hilarious.
Special effects are brilliant.
So good. Like
And it's funny to the end as well. That's the thing. You know, a lot of kind of
It's
comedy movies, they
consistent.
kind of just get sidetracked with the plot, usually about halfway through or towards the end, and they forget about the humor. But this is just, it's funny to the last minute of the film. Like, what did you think, Connor?
Yeah, because I thought Maeve Higgins was brilliant.
So good.
She's fantastic. Her face is just perfect.
Exactly.
I
love that kind of, you know, where it feels like a little improv-y, but it's almost like the joke is almost thrown away, like, you know what I mean?
It was written for her. It was written with her in mind,
Yeah.
you know, years ago. I feel like, you know, we probably know a lot of people like that real kind of like funny, dry kind of cork humor in like being from Ireland. But you never really see anyone like that in a film, and definitely not in a big kind of like horror comedy like that. Like
Exactly. Yeah. And I thought the effects were, especially in that end sequence, is kind of a car chase and a big scene now. They're really well done. Like,
the world's slowest car chase.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Which is
Really
brilliant. The timing of it was just fantastic. And then the music as well. Sorry, I know I always talk about the music, but it was great. Like, it was really good.
Were you on set?
I made a behind the scenes EPK featurette, behind the scenes documentary kind of thing on the film. I was on the set a couple of days in Charlotteville Castle in Trim. Is it Trim? I think it's Trim.
Give us some gossip, on-set gossip.
I don't know if there's much gossip, but for me it was a really great experience because I got to interview Will Forte, one of my comedy heroes, like, you know what I mean? Absolute like legend.
I love
the guy. You know, meeting all the cast and the crew, and the day I was on set, they were filming their finale scene, and it took 5 days to film that scene. Because you think about it, it's a big ensemble cast. There's like 5 or 6 kind of main characters, plus you've got this big CGI element, no spoilers, so you're getting all this coverage, getting all these angles, and
did that include the car chase or the
no?
scene
This
in
was
the
all
castle?
in that room, in that ritual room.
Wow!
So that was 5 days to shoot that. And I was there for like day like 3 and 4, and they were like saying the lines like till they were blue in the face, like, you know, just because they had to get so much coverage. Like,
how long did, I'm just curious from a production point of view, how long did they have to shoot the whole film?
It was a normal kind of production, like
5 weeks.
4 or 5 weeks kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were both very, like, one of the phrases the directors told me at the end of it, they said it was like that expression, Hollywood in the morning, Hollyoaks in the evening, you know? Where you've got all these amazing shots in the morning, and then in the evening you're just like, put the camera there, say the line. But they work really well together as a team, and, you know, they had Joe Fall over doing production design, and James Maher, DOP. He's really, really good, and like amazing team. And it was one of those ones you could tell where all the crew and everyone involved in it loved being there, just because it was just such a funny, wild type of movie. The girl who played the teenage daughter in it who gets possessed, that was like her first time acting in a film, and she just knocked it out of the park.
Fantastic.
You know? And then the big kind of running joke in the film was it's about a driving instructor, but Maeve Higgins can't drive. So they had to, and like, you know, the directors were saying, like, anytime there's like someone driving the film, it's basically a VFX shot in their film, or like there's a scene where she has to parallel park, and it's like the most complicated shot in the film. Because
how did they do it? Did they
had Ailish Bracken, who's one of the producers on the film, from Blinder. They had her as kind of a body double. She would like reverse the car into the space, and as the car's moving, hop out and replace her with Maeve, and then she'd kind of pull in, pretend like she's driving. And then Claudia O'Doherty was kind of the female villain in the film, Will Forte's wife, and she was driving as well, and she also couldn't drive. So there's this
no way.
There's this scene in the film where there's a levitating girl who's like on a crane rig kind of thing being pulled along, and then that rig is pulling the hearse that Claudio Doherty is pretending to drive, and then the hearse is pulling the learner driver car that the heroes are in, kind of thing. And it's just like the most ridiculous looking thing
Because the two
ever.
drivers couldn't drive.
The two main
How did they
drivers.
do it?
What?
How did they do it?
They were just on a rig. They were on like
okay,
a
been pulled
low
along. Yeah.
rider.
You make movies.
Yeah, I know. I also want to say
You know what?
the
That's
why I
magic
want
of
to know.
cinema.
That's why I want to know in detail how they did it.
I'll send you
Because I
my-
have a car scene coming up, and I want to know.
I'll
how
send
to
you my
do it.
EPK documentary.
I've got a 16-year-old and he can't drive.
Yeah, I'll send you my EPK documentary. You can watch it. And,
Okay, cool.
and see how they did
Get
it.
tips.
Yeah,
Are you allowed to say what the movie is? Or?
your film.
This movie, it's a vampire comedy. Yeah.
Is that it?
That's-
I'm not gonna press you. I just look in your face is like holding like it back, like. Oh.
You've been working on it for a while. The script and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 3 years.
Wow.
So,
That's
yeah,
it.
finally
When
going into production. Well, I'm always skeptical because it's like the amount of times I say to people,
Yeah.
oh, in 3 months' time,
Yeah.
definitely, and like I think when we cast one of the actors 3 years ago, it was literally like, oh, we'll be shooting in the summer, and this was in transition year,
Yeah.
and now he's in leaving cert year.
He's a grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
have you cast for this? Like, you've done all your casting?
Not all, but a lot
Because
of it.
Ali is available.
I am.
So is Stephen.
I've told him. I will. Like this. I just need to say. So my dad, who traumatized me with horror. Thank you, Father, for making me
Thank
love
you.
horror.
Nice.
But he doesn't like comedy at all, like in any sense. And he hates comedy.
Don't like to laugh.
Like that's why I only watched horror films growing up.
He
Because
doesn't like
hates.
to laugh.
No, well, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just know that I never watched comedies growing up, like at all.
I'm not. This, yeah.
Anyway, doesn't like the okay. I
Dad
lied.
is Ted Bundy.
The only thing, basically, the only thing that I've ever
Horrorthon.
seen him like watch a comedy is Monty Python.
Oh, right, so he's into that.
Does he
old
laugh
school
at
comedy.
horrors though?
No.
Does he not?
He laughs when you say like,
We
have
should
you
get
checked
your dad in as a
have you
guest.
checked the children? Like
Oh, yeah.
that's him laughing at
the
me being
kids.
scared, or like, get out from the Amityville, him laughing at me.
Yeah.
Like he laughs at me being scared as a child. Anyway, so I showed my dad because Connor sent me the promo like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I died laughing. Like I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. So I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot. Showed my dad, and my dad actually burst his arse laughing. He thought it was hilarious.
He was like, what's
thought-
happening to me? What's happening to me?
Oh, Connor is here. That's one ticket sold.
he thought it was genius.
My work here is
because
if I can change one person,
Yeah.
just one.
This man who's a robot.
He's actually still laughing and he's been
he's
locked
still
up.
laughing. No, but it was because
His
he felt it
metal
was
heart.
so much like the Fearless Vampire Killers.
Okay,
You
yeah.
know, so
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking
So-
forward to that. Connor.
yeah.
really
So
looking forward to
congrats
that.
I
on.
really am free.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, me too.
Same.
Me
Well,
too.
there is a vampire party.
I'm so
Oh,
there.
we'll be
Or
there.
is it going to be like the Blade bloodbath scene?
It'll be a little more like an Irish rave.
Hi,
Tell you what we'll
diddly-eye.
do. We'll go and we'll secretly record a real horror show segment,
Yeah.
as extras in the vampire party.
Good.
But just get all our shots out of the way first so we can fuck off.
Yeah.
For pay.
Things take long.
I want to be a
My
featured
rate-
vampire. Featured
Yeah,
vampire.
my extra rate is 500 a day, so like we'll
I
see.
get my agents.
Yeah, we'll
to
chat
give
to
you
the agents.
advice.
Okay, we'll talk.
Yeah.
So what's the next segment?
So yeah,
Horrorthon.
what are we talking about? We're talking about the Horrorthon, the IFI Horrorthon, the most
Yeah.
beautiful time of year in the world of
Yes.
horror in Ireland. 24th of October to the 28th of October. Hopefully this podcast will be out before then and people can get a couple of recommendations off us. We've looked at the program, a couple of really like standout kind of things in there. Ali, was there anything you kind of thought looked
Little
good?
Monsters.
What's that called?
Sorry, excuse my language.
Little Monsters.
Little
LIF.
Monsters. Lil. By Abe Forsyth. And it is, so Wildcard is distributing it, so AO.
Go on the wild card.
And I have just forgotten that amazing actress's name.
Lupita
Lupita
Nyong'o.
Nyong'o.
Thank you very
The
much.
Wickedly. So Little Monsters, what's it about?
So it's like about as a kind of a zombie apocalypse. So her Lupita is, I think she's a school teacher or
Kindergarten.
I haven't seen it. So yeah, and
It's
she's helping a singer.
Oh,
There's a singer. There's something to save children.
Okay, yeah.
from a zombie apocalypse, basically.
From what I know, it's a zomcom, which we haven't seen in a while. A zomcom. Peter Nyong'o is in it. She's she's a kindergarten teacher and she's protecting kids from zombies. And I watched the trailer and it looks very kind of like self-aware. You know, there's army guys that said like, we got a zombie outbreak. What type of zombies are they? Are they fast zombies or slow zombies? Slow. Oh, good. Okay, cool. You know, so like it's definitely meta kind of thing, which we probably haven't seen for a while. So hopefully it
I was
it
going
delivers.
to say,
sorry,
but go watch
is
that.
on in the Horrorthon quickly. The Nightmare on Elm Street documentary,
Yes.
Scream Queen,
Which
My
looks
Nightmare on Elm
awesome.
Street.
Who's it about?
So it's about the
It's the
actor whose name I have written down, Mark Patton, the lead actor of Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Freddy's Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first time I
Because
ever watched.
it's talking about
Really?
it being in an
Yeah.
LGBT,
It's very LGBT.
completely,
Yeah.
That was
There
the
was
first Nightmare on Elm Street I ever watched.
No
Really,
way.
Yeah, I had a very weird intro into because it's not. I wouldn't say it's the
Wow.
best Nightmare
No.
on Elm Street ever.
No, it would be probably not
But yeah,
my
the
favorite.
worst. Like if we were to rank them, it's obviously one Dream Warriors.
Yes.
Well,
Probably New
maybe
Nightmare.
Dream
Yeah.
Warriors before one actually, because
No.
that.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, but that scene with the veins and the puppets,
Oh, yeah.
that
Beautiful.
has forever been
Yeah.
in my brain. That is
No,
like,
this
if you did the
God
Wild
is
Wild
still-
West thing and shone like a light through my decapitated head, that scene would play.
like kind of like Wild Wild West.
That's what I just said, like Wild Wild West.
Sorry, I heard the cabinet.
references are on fire here today.
Your
Wild Wild
metaphors are
West.
just
What?
mental.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, yeah, for anyone who didn't see it when they were watching the film, some of us look a little bit deeper into the subtext, and there's a very strong
There's no
gay subtext in that
LGBT,
film
yeah.
that
Yeah.
wasn't, that people weren't really aware of at the time,
Yeah.
but since then it's become this kind of cult classic within the gay community, and this documentary actually follows the lead actor, his career afterwards, and how it actually kind of destroyed his career because
No way.
because homosexuality obviously in the 80s was, you know, a very kind of touchy subject in America, you know, because of the AIDS epidemic and all that sort of thing. And I don't know too much about it, but even though it was embraced by horror fans, it did have a lot of backlash for its kind of gay themes in it. And I've seen in the trailer, they're kind of confronting some of the filmmakers of it, and the filmmakers are like, oh, it wasn't meant to be a gay film. And it's like, oh, we filmed in a gay bar. You know, like, is that a gay bar? Okay. You know, so yeah, really want to see that. Like,
Yeah,
that
it looks
makes-
like a great documentary.
Yeah, it looks really
It looks
interesting.
really, really interesting, and it is a good movie.
Anything else from the Horrorthon that you guys are interested in seeing?
I am interested in seeing. Well, usually I get a ticket and I just go see everything
Yeah, okay.
without too much prior knowledge.
Okay, I like that, yeah.
I like to be surprised, so I
Yeah.
usually
You get
try.
the surprise film.
I try go see them all. they're all a surprise.
Yeah, I
they're all
know,
a
the
surprise
surprise
for
film,
me.
yeah.
Do you go see all of them? Do you go for the whole 4 days? Or
Well, it's
This is
impossible to
Connor's
see
Christmas.
all of them because like there's
There's
overlapping
overlap,
films.
yeah.
Like they usually take over the
True.
3 screens.
yes.
Yeah.
But in general, you can kind of get to see about 15 films over the 5 days if you're.
If you have the fundage,
Yeah.
it is pricey,
Are we
but worth
talking-
it.
Are we talking this
The-
paid ticket or is this?
What?
Are you paying for this ticket?
Sometimes.
See?
That's what life's like at the top, people.
That's it.
Welcome to showbiz.
Make some moves.
But
Hollywood.
the one I am looking for, and the title just escapes me for a second. The color of
Color of Space. Or no,
Colour-
sorry. Color Out of Space.
Color Out of Space.
I think,
that's
yeah.
the one I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think that's the big one. Richard Stanley.
Yeah, because he was a guest at the festival like a couple of years
For Hardware.
back. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, Richard Stanley directed?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, like from The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
half of The Island of Dr. Moreau. Or the third.
And Nicolas Cage is in it. It's based on
Wow.
a story by H.P. Lovecraft.
Wow.
Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, it's
Slightly
very
creepy.
interesting. Yeah, and so Richard Stanley was at the Horrorthon a couple of years ago for his film Hardware, which was really cool. 80s
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
weird
The robot movie.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's gone completely off the radar. He kind of lives sort of
Well,
self-sufficiently.
Yeah, The
you know.
Island of Dr. Moreau really kills him. Like,
Yeah.
It's a great documentary about the whole making of it.
Yeah,
And,
really good.
He's doing a great film as well called Dust Devil.
Yes, Dust Devil.
It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Brilliant movie.
And just to mention as well, because it's Irish, there are 2 Irish films in the Horrorthon. One of them is called Perished by Paddy Murphy, which we're all very excited to see.
Yeah.
And another one is a short film by our good friend Zoe Kavanagh, who you may know from her film Demon Hunter, which you can watch on VOD or buy on DVD. So
Yeah.
check out her short film in the Short Film Showcase.
Cool.
So that brings us close to the end of the podcast, and we're just going to finish off by talking about our perfect Sunday. No, we're going to talk about what our Halloween double bill is going to be. So the 2 films we are going to watch on Halloween night, because that's something that all of us do apparently every year. So Connor, what are you going to be your horror double bill for Halloween?
Well, I'm going to rediscover. Well, not rediscover. I'm going to look again.
Your body.
Just
going to explore your body at home.
It's hard there.
Oh, we're running out of air in here. Actually.
I'm going to watch One Cut of the Dead.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Rewatch.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, this was one of my favorite films from
last year.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I just saw it's on Shudder again. So,
quick, what is that about?
Well, I don't want to give it away, but basically, it was a very low budget film. It was made for 27,000, made over 30 million.
Holy shit! Okay.
And it's basically about. It starts off about a bunch of low budget filmmakers who are making a zombie film, and the actors are really bad. And then they discover there's a zombie outbreak, so they decide to use real zombies to try get better performances out of the actors.
Oh yeah.
That's just the setup. But I think what makes the film good is there's a few twists within the plot, you know.
Okay, cool.
And I think the second one I'm gonna watch is Poltergeist.
Yeah,
nice.
Good shout.
Nice. Yeah, beautiful.
Kind of combine a little bit of
the remake,
comedy with some horror, but not the remake.
Yeah.
Spielberg /
What
Toby Hooper.
even?
Yeah.
I can't even remember the remake because it was that awful.
I never saw it. Actually.
I watched
Sam
about 5
Jared
minutes of
Harris
it.
is in it. Your man that won the Oscar.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell,
yeah.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
He's in it. It's actually not that bad.
Really? Yeah.
I love
It's
Sam
not that bad. Look,
Rockwell,
you can't remake
No.
Poltergeist.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Poltergeist was
Yeah.
already
Poltergeist
brilliant. It's not
too.
like it had bad effects or anything like that. Fucking, like the visual effects in that.
The
were
same with Pet
fantastic.
Cemetery, and they went and remade
Oh.
that. And we're not going down
Let's
that
not
rabbit
go
hole.
back to Pet Cemetery. We did a whole
I
episode
still
about
think
that.
Poltergeist 2 is actually a much better movie.
Is that the one with the teeth?
It's the one with the Reverend.
Much better than one. Or
Yeah, I think it's
the
much scarier.
I've never seen Connor make that face.
Look,
That's the one
Poltergeist.
with the man with the hat.
Yeah, and the hat. And
Like he's scary.
He's scary, but like Poltergeist,
men
I
are.
don't think is
Tall men are
Men with
scary.
hats are scary.
Well, Phantasm is scary because it's basically just a tall man in a glowing orb.
Yeah,
Tall men are
Actually,
scary.
Sorry, anyway.
tall men are scary.
No, I just
So-
like that's. I know it's a weird thing to say. It's Poltergeist 2.
So you're rewatching. You're rewatching.
I'm rewatching.
I like it. Okay, cool.
I'm rewatching.
Yeah, solid. Stephen.
Oh, it's on to me. Okay,
Double
I thought I
bills.
was gonna get bypassed. I am going to definitely watch. I watch it every year. Is John Carpenter's The Thing
Oh yeah.
because it's one of my favorite movies. And I think it's one of the most underrated sci-fi horror movies of all time. So I'm gonna watch that because
Good
Kurt
choice,
Russell, John
definitely.
Carpenter,
Yeah.
Snow, monsters,
A dog.
a lot of lads just hanging around an
That's
Arctic
it.
base.
Shooting the shit, watching some nasty mutations.
It's just a great movie. Like
It
is,
everything
it
about
is.
that film is just so good, and I know they remade it, and I wouldn't bother
No.
watching it.
No.
I always thought it was a film that deserved a sequel, but never a remake.
Yeah, again, amazing effects in that film, amazing production value. What's the point, really? Like, you know, in remaking that movie?
Yeah.
I'd love to watch just to see what happened to Kurt Russell. Because there is that
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
Yeah,
the strange ending
exactly.
of like,
Yeah.
is he infected by the end of it?
Yeah.
And then the second film I'm going to watch is actually not really a kind of. It is a kind of horror film, but it's not really. It's Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and
Jake
Gyllenhaal,
Gyllenhaal.
directed by Dennis Villeneuve. It's just a really, really good movie, and the reason I want to watch it again is because I think just Denis Villeneuve is a great director, and he's obviously doing a new version of Dune. But it's such a great script. It's just about a man trying to find his kids. It's kind of a modern day version of Don't Look. It's Don't Look Now.
Don't
Don't Look Now,
Yeah, with the
which is a
weird
great,
ending.
which is
Yeah.
another
Paul
great
Dano
movie
as
to
well.
watch.
Paul Dano's in it. He's
Oh,
amazing.
he's amazing. Yeah.
Dave Dashmalan, who's in loads of different. He's a weird looking dude. He's in Dark Knight and he's in Ant-Man and Wasp. And
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
so I'm gonna watch that because I can't pick Halloween because I can't have too much John Carpenter in my picks.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I am gonna watch Halloween as well.
Yeah, that's always one for a rewatch.
I didn't know that the brief was to choose
Yes,
my
you
own
did.
double bill. I thought it was to suggest movies.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was trying to think of, so there's a couple of things that we have in development at the minute. So there's a couple of movies that I have in the back of my head.
yeah.
One of them, these are movies that I want to rewatch. And a lot of them aren't necessarily horrors, but there's The Skin I Live In,
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
which is horrifying because it gets so under your skin. Pedro Almodovar, and then because I love that kind of under the skin horror, and please don't hate me, but Tusk by Kevin
Oh,
Smith.
I like Tusk.
I loved
I've
Tusk.
mixed feelings.
I
about
just,
Tusk.
it just really bothers me.
It
that
actually does
he's-
make me sick.
Yeah,
it was nasty.
It's just it really gets like under my hair follicles and just makes me go, oh, he's
Not
a
even under your
walrus.
skin, under your hair follicles. It's the part in your skin where hair goes.
It is funny that about a film because it's like with horror films, there's a certain scariness or thing that I can accept, and
Yeah.
then there's a certain one where it makes me feel ill.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I like that.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Tusk, and it was completely
Definitely
slated.
achieved that.
But like it's so unsettling because like just that bit at the end where
Oh, that's nice at the end where he's in the
he's in the
compound.
he's in the petting zoo, and it's just that is a movie that I really need to watch again. And then so Teeth.
Oh yeah,
and Teeth and
there's one that makes me feel a bit.
Teeth and Jennifer's Body, because I mean those are both obviously super feminist pieces, so those are two really good suggestions. I would also suggest that.
You're suggesting you suggest them.
I am
Suggest
suggesting
on.
that I suggest.
Very suggestive.
We fail English. That's impossible.
And then Repulsion by Roman Polanski would be another great one. But then obviously for me,
Separate the art from the artist, guys. That's all I'm saying.
definitely, I don't even get me started on separating the artist from the art. Anyway, but then if it was my double feature, I think I've talked about it 1,001 times, would be May.
Oh yeah.
I freaking adore that
yeah,
film
May.
in every capacity. It's definitely one of
What's
my
it
favorite
called?
horror films.
May.
Nay.
And
All right,
it's
that's it.
I can't remember I can't remember her name. Angela something or other.
Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury. But it is just an exceptional, beautiful film. And then horrifying film also, and then probably Pet Sematary, because it is
the original.
the original,
I assume,
obviously.
with Herman Munster.
it is Fred Gwynn.
Yeah. Don't go down that. That's what he says.
No harm,
Go
no
down that
foul.
No harm, no foul.
Don't go down that road.
I love it so much. So yeah, those would be.
Funny story about Tusk, actually. Kevin Smith said that he brought the script to Jason Blum, and at the time Blum was he had this deal with Sony, and Sony would make 10 $1 million budget horror movies, and Blum was like, oh yeah, I'll take that script off you and just bring it to him, and they were just greenlighting the shit out of everything at the time.
Okay.
And he said when Blum handed over Tusk to Sony, it was the one script they handed back, and they were like, no. What the fuck is this? No. And Bloom said it was the first time they had said no to one of his one of his packages, because it was just so messed up.
I mean, it bombed. I went to see it in the ArcLight in LA, and people came out and they were just disgusted. Not even like Lars von Trier disgusted. They were just like, what did I just waste
You know,
my
it's
money
based on a
on?
true story.
No, it's not. Oh my God.
Some version of a true
It's
story.
based on his podcast. Oh my God,
the
no.
podcast started off about a true story.
On his podcast, they read out an article from the newspaper,
Oh my
and then
God,
they
you're
were
making
just
me
talking
sick.
about it.
They were developing it on the podcast.
Yeah, on the podcast.
Oh my God, can
yeah,
you
and they
know the
show
true story?
or they play a clip of the podcast in the end credits of Tusk.
Yeah,
of them
yeah.
talking about and wouldn't it be funny if this and it ends this way
Yeah.
and all that. My double bill for Halloween, I'm going with two films I've never seen before and I have kind of just caught my eye. Maybe you guys have seen them. One is an Italian film called Nightmare City, 1980.
Oh my God.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Is it?
It's amazing.
Is it amazing?
It's, amazingly bad, but
Yeah,
one of those films. It stars Henry Stieglitz.
Stieglitz.
Yeah. Which is from
Hugo Stieglitz, who
Tarantino.
Yeah.
Hugo
Yeah. Oh my God, Nightmare City. I watched this film so many times.
Really?
It's got zombies that run around throwing grenades.
Yes.
And they just have
Amazing.
muck on their faces.
Dead.
No, Nightmare City.
Nightmare City.
And the ending of this film
That's
is hilarious.
So the synopsis is an airplane exposed to radiation lands and blood-drinking, weapon-wielding zombies go on a killing rampage across the Italian countryside.
Yeah.
I want to watch that movie.
Did they mean to say vampires?
No, they're zombies. They just have muck on their face, but they're zombies, and they run around with Uzis.
So
Yeah.
they're fast.
Yeah.
They're fast zombies.
They're not
that
even fast
aren't-
zombies. They're just like men.
I'd say they're that period in the
muck.
80s where they're just dudes with green muck on their face, just
And there's a lot of zoom.
That
The Italians
sounds-
got away with
that sounds-
so
And
much.
I know, and
does.
I'm so happy that they
It's
did.
Zombie 2. where the breastfeeding
Oh
zombie.
yeah.
And
Oh,
it
yeah,
rips
yeah.
off its mother's nipple. Like,
Yes!
they got away with so much shit back then.
The director of Nightmare City, Umberto Lenzi, he also directed, I think it was a video nasty, it was called Cannibal Ferox or Ferox.
Cannibal
Cannibal
Ferox, which
Ferox.
is also an amazing film.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I haven't seen that, but I've been kind of familiar with that. So that was the only thing in his filmography.
Cannibal Ferox has one of these amazing scenes where they're all captured and they're about to be, they're in a sort of a pit and they're about to be killed.
Yeah.
And someone goes, I know what we should do. Let's sing. And they all just start singing.
Is that Cannibal Holocaust?
No,
but is it 2 different movies?
Yeah,
Cannibal Holocaust is
different-
the
different
documentary
movies.
type one.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm so excited you're discovering these movies.
I know,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Thanks,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just while you're on it, watch City of the Living Dead as well.
City of the Living Dead. Is that an
It's got
Italian
one
is
of
it?
the weirdest soundtracks. It's like a priest dies and everyone just becomes zombies for no apparent reason.
Right.
You ever
I don't
see
think
it?
I've seen that one.
It has a great soundtrack to it.
Is that an Italian one as well, or is that?
They're all Italian.
The other one is, and someone actually told me this is quite good, and I kind of just wrote it off as a possibly dodgy sequel, but Candyman 2, Farewell.
Yes!
Farewell to the Flesh. It's
Yes!
so
It's
desperately bad.
so
Is
good!
it?
It's so
It's
desperately
so
badly
good!
good, though.
Oh, so good!
I don't know if I'm setting myself up for a shit Halloween night with all the really disappointing Halloween night. I kind of just looked at it and went, Candyman 2, really? I don't know. Like, I mean, it looks, I didn't think it looked great, but then I have heard people like Ali saying it's awesome. So
It's such a troubled production. That's why it's so
Oh,
bad.
really?
It was apparently a really bad production.
Really?
Yeah. But like, look, it's Candyman. You can't go
I
wrong.
know, it's freaking Candyman.
and it is Tony Todd, in fairness.
is Tony,
Candyman in New Orleans, I don't
Mardi
know.
Gras,
He
baby.
gives Nicolas Cage a run for his money with the bees.
Yeah, those are
And
mine.
of course, Philip Glass does the score, which
Does he
is
for the
always.
sequel?
Right,
as well.
The soundtrack's amazing.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good. Soundtrack is unreal.
Green.
So I think
Those are
that's
mine,
it.
yeah.
That is.
So that's it for our
Be
Halloween
scared.
special from me, Conor McMayhem.
Yes!
And me, Howling, Dowling.
Ali Horror.
I don't know. I can't remember what mine was, but I just shiver me timbers. It was
Shudder me timber.
Screaming.
I just doesn't know this. Give your recipe for the white wine.
And thanks
sauce.
to our thanks to our special guest, Screaming Stephen.
Yeah! Woo. And thanks obviously to Phil Marlin and Stephen and Jana.
And thanks
Thanks,
obviously to
lads.
Connor for that week away.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, guys.
Bye. Be scared. Yeah, because I met not Charles Manson.